Hey, it's Mike. Mike's Custom Saws. Back out here in the garage this evening. It's the day after Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. We sure did. We had a ton of people at the house yesterday. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Family, 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 but super fun. That's what it's all about. I just want to talk a little bit about this 201 that I'm working on. So I didn't film the breakdown of it. The saw was given to me. It didn't run. I put fresh fuel into it. I got it to start a little bit, but it ran really awful, and it just wouldn't stay running basically. So free saw, let's pull it apart. So what I've got in front of me here are all the pieces. As I was going through it, I was doing all the diagnostic checks, right, and making a list of stuff that was bad and getting that stuff on order. Got down to the pressure and vacuum test. It actually held amazing pressure vac. I did it multiple times actually just to make sure, and it was perfect. Super tight crankcase on it. So what ultimately was wrong with it, now this is a piston that is cleaned up. It looks that it was carbon scored mainly. I think this came from a tree service, and I think it was just run super hard, poor fuel quality, whatnot. But here's the let's see if I can get that to focus in. Hopefully that does. There it is. You can see that's the exhaust side. And now this piston is completely cleaned up. I cleaned everything. And then if we can get a light in here, can try to get a view of that exhaust side, which is, it's scored in there. You can run your fingernail in there and catch on that jug. So that's warranted a new cylinder, new piston, new rings, new wrist pin, new needle bearing, and yeah, we're gonna port this thing. I mean, why not, right? That's what we do. So anyways, get all the parts in here. Most of the saw is pretty good. There was a little bit of wear on one of the wires in the handle, but it was easily repaired. So all the parts are in here, all the pieces, and then I've got the degree wheel on it now. So I've got my numbers, and I'll get back to you with that. I'll show you everything that's going on there. All right, be right back. All right, so here's the this is the 201, and here's the piston, cylinder, well, crankcase basically. Got my degree wheel set up on it. So this is the new cylinder on it. New piston, new ring. Well, rings aren't in there yet, but new piston, new needle cage, and new wrist pin in there. And then what I do have under here is a gasket, a base gasket that I had made. This is the original OEM. See if it'll focus on there. Anyways, that is the OEM base gasket for it. Anyways, it was 18 thousandths thick. I wanted to get my squish down lower, so I actually made a custom base gasket out of 12 thousandths aluminum, and that brings my squish down to 21 thousandths. Started at 25, so I'm thinking probably 23 thousandths with the sealant on there. We'll see. I'll get a final number once the saw is together. I don't know if it was really worth it to do all the work to make base gasket to gain 2000s. Possibly, we'll see. It's the first time I built one of these saws. So I've got my numbers here and written down in my notebook. I have to say a shout out to Tin Man. Tin Man, you're the man. He always says write everything down, and I've done that for all the saws that I've done, and it is so nice to be able to go back and look at your notes and what you've done in the past. Saws that are similar, kind of, if you haven't, like this is the first time I've done a 201, so you know, going back and looking at, oh, what have I done in the past that's similar to this saw, and kind of base numbers off of that as far as where I want to go with it. So I'll zoom you guys in and take a look at the numbers that I got on here, and maybe we'll explain a little bit. Alright, just a quick look at this 201 TC M-Tronic saw. Here's my notebook here. So stock, like I had mentioned, 25 thousandths inch of squish. The exhaust came in at 110 after top dead center, and intake 75 before top dead center. Base gasket was 18 thousandths. That's why I wanted to bring that down. So I found that 12 thousandths sheet aluminum, built or cut out a new base gasket out of it. When I put the new cylinder and piston in there, did another squish measurement, came out to 21 thousandths. I think with the sealant should be around 23 thousandths. I'll find out at the end though, do another squish measurement to see where we ended up at. So with the new base gasket in there, running on the degree wheel again, we came out with the exhaust at 108 and with an intake of 76. Transfers at 125 degrees after top dead center. So I would like to, coming down here, looking to port it. So 4 degrees on the exhaust, 4 degrees on the intake. Our exhaust, that would put it at 104, intake be at 80, and then give us 21 degrees of blowdown. Alright, we're back on the bench now. I want to really give a big shout out to Tin Man. He's kind of the one that inspired me to get working on saws to tear them apart and start porting them. I had an 036 Pro that I had lent to a neighbor. Came back in pieces, just blown up completely. So it was my original saw from the early 2000s. I was on a wildland firefighting crew for a couple of years, and that's when I got into saws. And so that saw is near and dear to my heart. I wanted to keep it, so I figured, well, I've been a mechanic by trade my entire career, so yeah, I'll work on it. I'll get it fixed up. And then as I was tearing into it, I started to see, like, man, I can make more power out of these. Started doing some research online, saw that there was a community out there, and that's why I'm doing these videos now. I built multiple saws now, and it's time to give back. And if I can show anything that I've seen or do, just put it out there and give it out there to new guys that are coming in and building. So that 036 came out very well. I still have it. It runs great, and it's got a ton more power than it did. Then through my research, Tin Man, then there's the Iron Horse. I still watch Iron Horse. He's awesome. Yeah, he knows more than I will ever know, and he just puts it out there. He's awesome people. And then subsequently, I got into doing arborist work and tree climbing. So August Haneke, another awesome guy, another big shout out to him. Makes really good inspirational videos. There's a pile of them out there that just, you guys are amazing. Just want to put that out there. You guys are amazing, and you really inspired someone like myself just to get into the saw work and start doing this. And I just playing around in the garage, and all of a sudden, people want saws built, and so you start taking on some work, and it's a great thing to do. It's a lot of fun, and these little things can put out a lot of power. And I love all the technical aspect of it, where you're measuring things in the thousands, and then you can check your work at the end and see how you did. This worked, this didn't work. I built a 038 Magnum recently just for myself, and first saw that I hung a ring. Saw was great. Probably my own fault. Well, definitely my own fault. I didn't chamfer the exhaust port enough, and I didn't give it any break-in time. I was just hog wild. I was so excited about the saw, and I was just putting it through the wood. It's got a 28-inch bar, and I was putting it in through like a 26-inch, 27-inch log, just time and time again, and then it just stopped. So brought it back in, and yeah, sure enough, pulled that exhaust off, and it was roasted. So anyways, rebuilt it. It's a good saw again. So yeah, just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out, a thank you to everyone out there that's inspired me to do this work. So thanks a lot, appreciate it. All right, so here we got the 201 sitting, and we are set to make some timing numbers on it. So be right back with you. All right, so here's a 201. I'm gonna just put a little piston stop in there. Bring it down to bottom dead center here. I just want to make sure that my degree wheel didn't get bumped. We had a lot of people in and out of here for Thanksgiving yesterday, and I don't know if it got hit or not. So easy way of checking that, we'll bring it up, and we are sitting at 36 degrees right there, and then rotate it the other way, and we're at 36 degrees. So nothing got bumped, we're good to go there. Spin that little piston stop out, bring it down to bottom dead center again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ring method. So taking a ring, going to put it inside the cylinder, square it up, put the cylinder back down, and then basically what I'm going to do is rotate this thing back until I am 104 degrees after top dead center on the degree wheel, and that should put me where we need to be to make my mark so that I can start grinding on this thing. Had to just turn the heater on in here up in Northwest Washington State, and it's getting cold out there. Not as cold as many parts of the country. I guess we're in a temperate area here, but it gets cold out in the garage. So put the heater on, warmed it up in here a bit. Alright, I'm going to spin this off and pull the jug off, and I'll get right back to you when I'm getting the ring set in. Alright, so got the jug off, get our bolts out of there. So here is, let's spin this thing up real quick. Grab this gasket out of here. So see if that comes up. That's the gasket that I made out of the 12 thousandths aluminum, and we use as a base gasket. So I'm going to bring that deck back down to bottom dead center. Brand new jug. I'm going to take a ring, and I'm just going to place that ring in there. And I'm just going to take the old piston, and that's why I save all my old pistons, and then I mark them since there's 40 millimeter on them. And I'm just going to square that ring up in that cylinder, just a little bit in there, so that now I can put this cylinder back down on there, and the piston will push the ring up, but it's at bottom dead center, so it's not going to push it too far. And then I'll rotate that crank down, or rotate the crank opposite way to that 104 degrees and pull the jug off, and I'll show you what we got. Okay, be right back with you. Okay, so hopefully you can see that inside the exhaust port. Now I'm at bottom dead center right now, and you should be able to see the piston coming up, and it's going to be pushing the ring up, and I'm going to be watching the degree wheel, and when I get to 104 degrees after top dead center, that's where I'm going to stop. So here we go. Just going to turn that crankshaft. I'm going the opposite way of direction because I'm coming from bottom dead center, and you should be able to see that ring getting pushed up. And we're coming up on that 104 degrees. Right there. So now we're at 104 degrees. That's just above that top exhaust roof. Now I'm going to back it back down. There's the piston coming down. You should be able to see that in there. Back to bottom dead center. So now I can pull this jug off. I'll pull the jug off, and that ring will be sitting at 104 degrees, the bottom of the ring. And then I can scribe a line there, or mark a line there, and then I can, that's how I know where I need to grind to. Probably plenty of ways of doing this. That's the easiest way that I've found, and it's worked for me. So I'll pull the jug off and show you what it looks like inside. Alright, got the jug off, and ring is exactly where it needs to be. I'll try to show you inside here if I can get a light in there. What I did is I took an ultra fine tip Sharpie in there and marked the top of where it would be the bottom of the ring. Let's see if we can get that to show inside of there. Well, hopefully you can see that there's the ring in there, and then I used a where's that? I used just a, you know, ultra fine tip Sharpie, and went in there, just made a line right on the base of that ring, so that I know now that that's my 104 degrees. So I will come in through the exhaust and port that and grind it out until that line disappears. And then I know that I'm at my 104 degrees. So I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'll pull the ring out, make sure my line is nice and crisp, that I can see where I gotta grind to. So I don't know if I'll film the grinding, but show it to you afterwards at least. And then it's on to the piston and doing the piston. I haven't done a piston like this before. I haven't ground the piston for intake timing, so I'll be learning as I go. It'll be interesting. Alright, we'll see you soon. Okay, I just wanted to do a little bit of a, I'm hoping that'll give a better image than it was earlier on the ring at that 104 degrees.
with the cylinder off, and you kind of see in there. I'm trying to get the camera to pick it up well, but you can see the ring sitting in there, and you can see my black line on there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that ring out, and then we'll check it out again. Okay, so you can kind of see that black line there. I pulled the ring out, kind of bled through a little bit on the left side there, but it's fine. I'll be able to tell exactly where it needs to be. When you're looking at it not through the camera, it's actually a lot clearer on that left side. But that's what it leaves when you pull the ring out. Make your mark, pull the ring out, and now I know where I need to grind to on that exhaust roof to get to that 104 degrees. And then when we're done and I get it back together, I'll confirm and see where that I got to that 104, or if I'm short or long, we'll find out. But anyways, that's how it's done. Hope that helped. And I'll come back probably after grinding, and we'll get going on that intake on the piston.
All right, so that's going to do it for me tonight in here. So we timed the exhaust. We got the ring where it needed to be. Made our mark on the cylinder, and so next step is just grinding that exhaust out and then polishing it. So hopefully I'll get going on that tomorrow, and then next time I come back, we'll be working on the piston and the intake, and I'll show you how the exhaust turned out. Alright, so have a good night.